Have you ever known exactly what you wanted to say in English, but when it was your turn to speak, your mind suddenly went blank? You understood the question. You knew the vocabulary. You had studied the grammar before, but for some reason, you could not create a sentence. The other person waited for your answer. You became nervous. You started translating inside your head, and the longer the silence continued, the more difficult speaking became. Finally, you gave a very short answer. Or maybe you simply smiled and said, "I don't know." Then, after the conversation ended, the perfect sentence suddenly appeared in your mind. You thought, "Why couldn't I say that earlier?" If this happens to you, it does not mean your English is bad. It does not mean you are not intelligent. And it does not mean you need to study grammar for several more years before speaking. Freezing usually happens because your brain is trying to do too many things at the same time. You are trying to understand the other person, translate the question, choose the correct vocabulary, build a perfect sentence, check the grammar, pronounce every word correctly, and avoid making a mistake. That is too much pressure for one short moment. In this lesson, you will learn how to stay calm, respond faster, and keep speaking even when you cannot find the perfect words. You will discover practical techniques that help you move from silence to communication. So take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and let's learn how to speak English without freezing. Part 1. Why your mind goes blank. Freezing is not always a language problem. Very often, it is a pressure problem. When you practice alone, you may speak clearly. You have time to think. Nobody is watching you. Nobody is waiting for your answer. But during a real conversation, everything feels different. You may think, what if I make a grammar mistake? What if my pronunciation sounds strange? What if they don't understand me? What if I use the wrong word? These thoughts take your attention away from the conversation. Instead of focusing on the message, you focus on yourself. You begin checking every word before speaking. That internal checking slows you down. Then, the silence makes you more nervous, and nervousness makes it even harder to remember English. This creates a cycle. You feel pressure. You hesitate. You become more nervous. Your mind goes blank. The first step is understanding that you do not need to eliminate every mistake. You need to reduce the pressure. Part 2. Stop trying to create the perfect answer. Many learners freeze because they want to give a complete and impressive answer immediately. Imagine someone asks, "What did you do last weekend?" A simple answer could be, "I stayed home and watched a movie." But your brain may try to create something more advanced. Last weekend, because I had been extremely busy during the previous week, I decided to spend most of my time relaxing at home. That answer may be grammatically correct, but it requires more vocabulary, more grammar, and more thinking time. In a real conversation, simple English is often better. You can begin with, "I stayed home," then add, "I was tired," then continue, "So I watched a movie and relaxed." You do not need to create the entire answer before you start speaking. Build it one small sentence at a time. Remember, start simple, then add more. Part 3. Use the first sentence rule. When someone asks you a question, your first goal is not to give a perfect answer. Your first goal is to say one easy sentence. This is the first sentence rule. Question: why are you learning English? First sentence: I need it for my work. Then you can add, I also want to travel and speak with more people. Question: what do you think about this city? First sentence: I really like it. Then add, it's beautiful and the people are friendly. Question: do you enjoy cooking? First sentence: yes, I do. Then add, I usually cook simple meals at home. The first sentence removes the silence. Once you begin speaking, your brain often becomes calmer, and the next sentence comes more easily. Part 4. Give yourself time. Naturally. Native speakers do not always respond immediately. They also pause. They think. They change their sentences. They use expressions that give them time. You can do the same. Instead of remaining completely silent, use a thinking phrase. For example, that's a good question. Let me think. I'm not completely sure, but, well, I'd say, "Give me a second. I've never thought about that before." These phrases are not meaningless. They show the listener that you are preparing an answer. They give your brain a few extra seconds without creating uncomfortable silence. Let's practice. Question: what is the best way to learn a language? You can begin, "That's a good question. I think daily practice is very important." Question: where would you like to live in the future? You can say, "Let me think. I'd probably choose a quiet city near the sea." Question: what did you think of the movie? You can begin, "Well, I'd say it was interesting, but a little too long." Thinking phrases make you sound more natural and confident. Part 5. Use ready-made conversation. Chunks. When you speak, you should not build every sentence from zero. Learn useful groups of words that you can use automatically. These are called conversation chunks. Examples include, "I think that, in my opinion, the main reason is, it depends on, I'm not sure, but as far as I know. What I mean is, for example." That reminds me of, the more chunks you know, the less your brain has to create during a conversation. Suppose someone asks, "Is it better to work from home or in an office?" You can use a chunk. "I think that working from home is more comfortable." Then another. "The main reason is that you save time." Then, for example, you don't need to travel to work every morning. You are not creating the whole structure from nothing. The chunks guide your answer. Part 6. What to do. When you forget a word you are speaking and suddenly you forget an important word. This is one of the most common reasons learners freeze. Maybe you want to say umbrella, but you cannot remember it. Do not stop the entire conversation. Describe the word. You can say, "the thing you use when it rains." The other person will probably understand. Maybe you forget the word refrigerator. You can say, "the machine in the kitchen that keeps food cold." Maybe you forget pharmacy. You can say, "the place where you buy medicine." This skill is called paraphrasing. It is one of the most valuable communication skills you can learn. Even native speakers sometimes forget words and explain them differently. Communication does not require the perfect word. It requires a clear idea. Part 7. Use rescue phrases. Sometimes you need help during a conversation. Prepare a few phrases that can rescue you. If you do not understand, say, "Could you say that again? Could you speak a little more slowly? I didn't catch the last part. What do you mean by that?" If you need time, say, "Let me think for a moment. I'm trying to find the right word. How can I explain this?" If you make a mistake, say, "Sorry, let me say that again. What I meant was, let me rephrase that." These phrases help you stay inside the conversation instead of giving up. You do not need to hide every difficulty. Good communication includes asking for clarification and correcting yourself. Part 8. Stop translating. Long answers. Translation is another reason learners freeze. Someone asks you a question. First, you create a complete answer in your own language. Then you try to translate every part into English. But the answer may include vocabulary or grammar you cannot produce quickly. Instead, begin directly with the English you already know. Question: what are your plans for the future? Do not create a long, complicated answer in your first language. Begin with simple English. "I want to improve my career." Then add, "I'm also planning to travel more." Then, "and I'd like to become more confident in English." This answer may be simpler than your thoughts in your first language. That is okay. Fluency grows when you learn to communicate with the English you currently have. Part 9. The 3-second response exercise. Here is a powerful exercise for reducing hesitation. Ask yourself a simple question, then begin answering within 3 seconds. You do not need to finish the complete answer in 3 seconds. You only need to start. Question: what did you eat today? 1, 2, 3. I had some eggs and bread. Question: what do you usually do in the evening? 1, 2, 3. I usually relax and watch videos. Question: what is something you want to learn? 1, 2, 3. I want to learn how to speak English more naturally. Question: do you prefer mornings or evenings? 1, 2, 3. I prefer evenings because I have more energy. This exercise teaches your brain to choose a simple response quickly. Part 10. Practice expanding. Short answers. Begin with one short sentence, then add one reason, then add one example. This gives you a simple structure. Answer, reason, example, question. Do you like studying alone? Answer, yes, I do. Reason, it helps me concentrate. Example, for example, I can study at my own speed without distractions. Another question, is English important for your future? Answer, yes, definitely. Reason, it can create more opportunities. Example, for example, I can communicate with international customers. This structure helps you speak longer without creating a complicated answer. Part 11. A real conversation practice. Let's practice with a short conversation. Speaker 1. What do you usually do on weekends? You. Well, I usually spend time at home. Speaker 1. Really? What do you do at home? You. I normally watch movies, read, or spend time with my family. Speaker 1. Do you ever go out? You. Yes, sometimes. I meet friends or go to a cafe. Now imagine that you forget the word cafe. You can say, I sometimes go to a place where I can have coffee with my friends. The conversation continues. You did not freeze. You used the language you had. Part 12. Learn to ask questions. Back. A conversation is not an interview. You do not need to answer every question with a long speech. You can answer briefly and then ask the other person a question. For example, what do you do in your free time? You. I usually watch movies. What about you? Question. Have you ever visited another country? You. Yes, I have. I visited Italy a few years ago. Have you been there? Question. Do you like your job? You. Yes, most of the time. What do you do? Asking questions takes pressure away from you. It also makes the conversation more balanced and natural. Useful questions include, what about you? How about you? Really? Why? What happened next? How did you feel? What do you think? Part 13. Practice with topics, not memorized speeches. Memorizing a complete speech can make you feel prepared, but if the other person asks a different question, you may freeze again. Instead of memorizing full answers, prepare ideas and useful phrases around common topics. For the topic of work, prepare what you do, what you like about it, what is difficult, what you want to do in the future. For the topic of travel, prepare places you have visited, places you want to visit, your favorite type of trip, a memorable travel experience. For the topic of learning English, prepare why you started, what is difficult, how you practice, what your goal is. This gives you flexible language instead of one fixed speech. Part 14. Make mistakes and keep going. Fluent speakers make mistakes. They begin sentences and change direction. They choose the wrong word and correct it. They pause. They restart. Real conversation is not a grammar exam. Suppose you say, yesterday I go, sorry, I went to the market. That is successful communication. You noticed the mistake, corrected it, and continued. Do not restart the whole conversation because of one error. Correct important mistakes quickly and move forward. Your confidence grows when your brain learns, I can make a mistake and still communicate. Part 15. Use short daily speaking sessions. You do not need to wait for a native speaker to practice. Speak alone for 5 to 10 minutes every day. Choose one topic. Set a timer. Speak continuously using simple English. When you forget a word, describe it. When you make a mistake, correct it and continue. You can also record yourself. Do not listen only to find mistakes. Notice what you did well. Did you speak for longer than yesterday? Did you use a new phrase? Did you recover after forgetting a word? Progress is not perfect speaking. Progress is continuing more easily. Part 16. The 10-minute anti-freezing routine. Here is a simple daily routine. Minutes 1 and 2. Warm up. Describe what you see around you. Use easy sentences. The room is quiet. My phone is on the table. I'm sitting near the window. Minutes 3 and 4. Quick responses. Answer 5 simple questions. Begin each answer within 3 seconds. Minutes 5 and 6. Use conversation. Chunks practice phrases such as, I think that, the main reason is, for example, it depends on. Minutes 7 and 8. Paraphrase. Choose 3 objects. Describe each one without saying its name. Minutes 9 and 10. Speak freely. Talk about one topic without stopping. Use short sentences and continue even when you make mistakes. This routine trains the exact skills you need in real conversation. Part 17. What confidence really means. Confidence does not mean I will never make a mistake. It means I can continue even when I make a mistake. Confidence does not mean I know every English word. It means I can explain my idea with the words I know. Confidence does not mean I always answer immediately. It means I can use a thinking phrase and stay calm. You do not need perfect English before you become confident. Confidence grows through imperfect communication. Final message. The next time someone speaks to you in English, remember, you do not need the perfect answer. Begin with one simple sentence. Use a thinking phrase when you need time. Speak in short pieces. Use conversation chunks. Describe words you cannot remember. Ask for clarification when necessary. Correct yourself and continue. And ask questions back. Freezing becomes weaker when you stop treating every conversation like a test. The goal is not to impress the other person with advanced grammar. The goal is to connect, understand, and communicate. Your English does not need to be perfect to be useful. Start speaking with the English you have today. Every conversation will make the next one easier. If this lesson helped you, subscribe to English Flow Academy for more speaking practice, real conversation lessons, and practical methods to help you communicate in English with confidence. Write this sentence in the comments. I don't need perfect English to start speaking. Keep speaking, keep learning, and keep building your English flow. See you in the next lesson.